The next up is Sonnet 1.
O nightingale, that on yon bloomy spray warblest at eve, when all the woods are still, thou with fresh hope the lover's heart dost fill, while the jolly hours lead on propitious May. Thy liquid notes, that close the eye of day, first heard before the shallow cuckoo's bill, portend success in love. Oh, if Jove's will have linked that amorous power to thy soft lay! Now timely sing, ere the rude bird of hate foretell my hopeless doom in some grove nigh, as thou from year to year hast sung too late. For my relief, yet hast no reason why, whether the Muse or Love call thee his mate, both them I serve, and of their train am I.
How soon hath time, the subtle thief of youth, stolen on his wing my 23 year? My hasting days file on with full career, but my late spring no bud or blossom showeth. Perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth, that I to manhood am arrived so near, and inward ripeness doth much less appear, that some more timely happy spirits induth. Yet be it less or more, or soon or slow, it shall be still in strictest measure even, to that same lot, however mean or high, toward which time leads me, and the will of heaven. All is, if I have grace to use it so, as ever in my great taskmaster's eye.
The next up is L'Allegro.
Hence, loathed melancholy of Cerberus and blackest midnight born, in Stygian cave forlorn, mongst horrid shapes and shrieks and sights unholy, find out some uncouth cell where brooding darkness spreads his jealous wings, and the night raven sings. There, upon ebon shades and low-browed rocks, as ragged as thy locks, in dark Cimmerian desert ever dwell. But come, thou goddess fair and free, in heaven uncleaped youth's Phorcine, and by men art easing mirth, whom lovely Venus at a birth with 2 sisters graces more to ivy-crowned Bacchus bore. Or whether, as some sages sing, the frolic wind that breathes the spring, Zephyr with Aurora playing, as he met her once a-maying. There on bed of violets blue and fresh-grown roses washed in dew, filled her with thee a daughter fair, so buxom, blithe, and debonair, hath the nymph, and bring thee jest and joyful jollity, quips and cranks and wanton wiles, nods and becks and wreathed smiles, such as hang on Hebe's cheek, and love to live in dimple sleep. Sport that wrinkled care derides, and laughter holding both his sides. Come and trip it as ye go on the light fantastic toe, and in thy right hand lead with thee the mountain nymph, sweet Liberty. And if I give thee honour due, mirth admit of thee thy crew, to live with her and live with thee in unreproved pleasures free. To hear the lark begin his flight, and singing startle the dull night from his watchtower in the skies, till the dappled damp doth rise. Then to come in sprite of sorrow, and at my window bid good morrow, through the sweet briar or the vine, or the twisted eglantine, while the cock with lively din scatters a rear of darkness thin, and to the stack or the barn door stoutly struts his dames before, oft listening how the hounds and horn clearly rouse a slumbering morn from the side of some hoar hill, through the high wood echoing shrill. Sometime walking not unseen by hedgerow elms, on hillocks green, right against the eastern gate, where the great sun begins his state, robed in flames and amber light, the clouds in 1,000 liveries dight. while the ploughman near at hand whistles o'er the furrowed land, and the milkmaid singeth blithe, and the mower whets his scythe, and every shepherd tells his tale under the hawthorn in the dale. Straight mine eye hath caught new pleasures, whilst the landscape round it measures, russet lawns and fallows grey, where the nibbling flocks do stray, mountains on whose barren breast the labouring clouds do often rest, meadows trim with daisies pied, shallow brooks and rivers wide, towers and battlements it sees, bosomed high in tufted trees, where perhaps some beauty lies, the sinecure of neighbouring eyes. Hard by, a cottage chimney smokes, from twixt two aged oaks, where Corydon and Thyrsis met, are at their savoury dinner set of harbs and other country messes, which the new-handed Phyllis dresses, and then in haste her bower she leaves, with Thestilis to bind the sheaves, or if the earlier season lead to the tanned haydock in the mead, sometimes with secure delight the upland hamlets will invite, when the merry bells ring round and the jocund rebecks sound, to many a youth and many a maid dancing in the checkered shade. And young and old come forth to play on a sunshine holy day, till the live long daylight fail, to the spicy nut brown ale, with stories told of many a feat, how fairy Mabe the junket's heat, she was pinched and pulled, she said, and he by Friar Lanthorn led, tells how the druggling goblin sweat to earn his cream bowly duly set, when in one night, a glimpse of morn, his shadowed flail hath threshed the corn, that 10-day labourers could not end, then lies down the lubber fend, and stretched out all the chimney's length, bask at the fire his hairy strength, and crop full out of doors he flings, ere the first cock his matin rings. Thus dons the tale, to bed they creep, by whispering winds soon lulled asleep. Towered cities please us then, and then the buzzed hum of men, where throngs of knights and barons bold in weeds of peace high triumphs hold, with store of ladies whose bright eyries reign influence and judge the price of wit or arms, while both contend to win her grace, whom all commend. There let Hymen oft appear, in saffron road with taper clear, with pomp and feast and revelry, with mask and antique pageantry, such sights as youthful poets dream on summer eves by haunted street. Then to the well-trod stage anon, if Johnson's learned as Sockby on, or sweet as Shakespeare, Fancy's child, warble his native wood notes wild, and ever against eating cares lap me in soft Lydian airs, married to immortal verse, such as a meeting soul may pierce in note with many a minding bout of linked sweetness long drawn out, with wanton heed and giddy cunning, the melting voice through mazes running. Untwisted all the chains they've tied, the hidden soul of harmony, that Orpheus' self may heave his head from golden slumber on a bed of heaped Elysian flowers, and hear such strains as would have won the ear of Pluto to have quite set free his half-regained Eurydice. These delights, if thou canst give, mirth with thee I mean to live.
The next up is Il Penseroso.
Hence, vain deluding joys, the brood of folly without father bred, how little you bested, or fill the mixed mind with all your toys, dwell in some idle brain, and fancies fond with gaudy shapes possess, as sick and numberless as the gay motes that people the sun beams, or like as hovering dreams, the fickle pensioners of Morpheus' train. But hail thou, goddess, sage and holy, hail, divinest melancholy, whose saintly visage is too bright to hit the sense of human sight, and therefore to our weaker view are laid with black stayed wisdom's hue. Black, but such as in esteem Prince Memnon's sister might beseem, or that starred Ethiop queen, that strove to set her beauty's praise above the sea nymphs and their powers offended. Yet thou art higher far descended, thee bright head Vesta long of yore to solitary Saturn bore. His daughter she, in Saturn's reign, such mixture was not held a stain. Oft in glimmering bars and glades he met her, and in secret shades of woody Ida's inmost grave. And yet there was no fear of Jove. Come, pensive nun, devout and pure, sober, steadfast, and demure, all in a robe of darkest grain, flowing with majestic train, and sable stole of cypress lawn, o'er thy decent shoulders drawn. Come, but keep thy wonted state, with even step and musing gait, and looks conversing with the skies, thy rapt soul sitting in thine eyes. They're held in holy passion still. Forget thyself to marble, till with a sad leaden downward cast, thou fix them on the earth as fast, and join with thee calm peace and quiet, spare fast, that oft with gods doth diet, and his muses in a ring, I round about Jove's altar sing.
Add to these retired leisure, that in trim gardens takes his pleasure, but first and chiefest with thee bring him that yon soars on golden wing, guiding the fiery wheelie throne, the cherub contemplation. And the mute silence hissed along, lest Philomel will deign a song in her sweetest, saddest plight, smoothing the rugged brow of night, while Cynthia checks her dragon yoke gently o'er the accustomed oak. Sweet bird, that shuns the noise of folly, most musical, most melancholy, the enchantress of the woods among, I woo to hear thy even song, and, missing thee, I walk unseen on the dry, smooth-shaven green, to behold the wandering moon riding near her highest noon, like one that had been led astray through the heaven's wide pathless way, and oft as if her head she bowed, stooping through a fleecy cloud. Often a plant of rising ground, I hear the far-off curfew sound, or some wide-watered shore, swinging along with sullen roar. Or if the air will not permit, some still removed place will fit, where glowing embers through the room teach light to counterfeit the gloom. Far from all resort of mirth, save the cricket on the earth, or the bellman's drowsy charm to bless the doors from nightly harm. Or let my lamp at midnight hour be seen in some high lonely tower, where I may oft outwatch the bear with thrice great Hermes, or as fear the spirit of Plato, to unfold what worlds or what vast regions hold the immortal mind that hath forsook her mansion in this fleshly nook, and of those demons that are found in fire, air, flood, or underground, whose power hath a true consent with planet or with element.
Sometime let gorgeous tragedy in sceptred pall come sweeping by, presenting Thebes or Pelops' line, or the tale of Troy divine, or what though rare at later stage ennobled hath the buskined stage. But O sad virgin, that thy power might raise Musaeus from his bower, or bid the soul of Orpheus sing such notes as warbled to the string, drew iron tears down Pluto's cheek, and made hell grant what love did seek. Or call him that left half told the story of Cambuscan bold, or of Campbell, or of Albersythe, who had Canace to wife, that owned the virtuous ring and glass, and of the wondrous horse of brass, on which the Tartar king did ride. And if all else, great bards beside in sage and solemn tunes have sung, of tourneys and of trophies hung, of forests and enchantments drear, where more is meant than meets the ear. Thus night oft seems me in pale career, till Sybil-suited morn appear, not tricked and frounced as she was wont with the Attic boy to hunt, but churcheth in a comely cloud, while rocked winds are piping loud, or ushered with a shower still, when the gust has blown his fill, ending on the rustling leaves with minute drops from off the eaves. And when the sun begins to fling its flaring beams, me goddess brings to arched walls of twilight groves, and shadows brown that sylvan lots of pine or monumental oak, with a rude axe with heaved stroke, was never heard the nymphs to daunt, or fright them from their hallowed haunt.
There in close covert by some brook, where no profaner eye may look, hide me from day's garish eye, while the bee with honeyed thigh, that at her flowery work doth sing, and the water's memory, with such consort as they keep, entice the dewy feathered sleep, and let some strange mysterious dream wave at his wings an airy stream of lively portraiture displayed, softly on my eyelids laid. And as I wake, sweet music breathe above, about, or underneath, sent by some spirit to mortals good, or the unseen genius of the wood. But let my dew feet never fail to walk the studious cloisters pale, and love the high embowed roof, with antique pillars massy proof, and storied windows richly dight, casting a dim religious light. There let the pealing organ blow to the full-voiced choir below, in service high and anthems clear, as may with sweetness through mine ear dissolve me into ecstasies, and bring all heaven before mine eyes. I may at last my weary age find out the peaceful hermitage, the hairy gown and mossy cell, where I may sit and rightly spell of every star that heaven doth show, and every herb that sips the dew, till old experience do attain to something like prophetic strain. These pleasures melancholy give, and I with thee will choose to live.
The next up is Arcade.
Look, nymphs and shepherds, look! What sudden blaze of majesty in that which we from hence decree, too divine to be mistook. This is she, to whom our vows and wishes bend. Here our solemn search hath end. Fame that her high worth to raise seemed erst so lavish and profuse, we may justly now accuse of detraction from her praise. Less than half we find expressed. Envy bid conceal the rest. Mark what radiant state she spreads, encircle round her shining throne, shooting her beams like silver threads. This is she alone, sitting like a goddess bright, in the center of her light. Might she the wise Latona be, or the towered Cybele, mother of 100 gods? Juno dares not give her odds. Who had thought this clime had held a deity so unparalleled? Stay gentle, swains, for thou in this disguise, I see bright honor sparkle through your eyes. Of famous Arcady ye are, and sprung of that renowned flood so often sung. Divine Elpheus, who by secret sluice stole under seas to meet his Arathus. And ye, the breathing roses of the wood, fair silver buskined nymphs as great and good, I know this quest of yours and free intent was all in honor and devotion meant to the great mistress of yon princely shrine, whom with low reverence I adore as mine, and with all helpful service will comply to further this night's glad solemnity, and lead ye where ye may more near behold. What shallow searching fame hath left untold, which I full oft midst these shades alone have sat to wonder at and gaze upon. For now, by lot from Jove, I am the power of this fair wood, and live in oaked bower, to nurse the saplings tall, and curl the grove with ringlets quaint, and wanton windings wove. And all my plants I save from nightly ill, of noisome winds and blasting vapours chill. and from the boughs brush of the evil dew, and heal the harms of thwarting thunder blue. Of what the cross-dire looking planet smites, or hurtful worm with cankered venom bites. When evening grey doth rise, I fetch my round over the mount, and all this hallowed ground, and early ere the odorous breath of morn awakes the slumbering leaves or tasselled horn. Shakes the high thicket, haste I all about, number my ranks and visit every sprout, with puissant words the murmurs made to bless. But else in deep of night, when drowsiness hath locked up mortal sense, then listen I to the celestial siren's harmony, that sit upon a 9 enfolded spheres, and sing to those that hold the vital spheres, and turn the adamantine spindle round, on which the fate of gods and men is wound. Such sweet compulsion doth the music lie, to lull the daughters of necessity, and keep unsteady nature to her law. And the low world of measured motion draw after the heavenly tune which none can hear, or human mould with gross unpurged ear. And yet such music worthiest were to blaze the peerless height of her immortal praise, whose lustre leads us, and for her most fit, in my inferior hand or voice could hit intermittable sounds. Yet as we go, whate'er the skill of lesser gods can show, I will essay her worth to celebrate, and so attend ye toward her glittering state, where ye may all that are of noble stem approach and kiss her sacred vestures hem.
Oh, the smooth emerald green, where no print of step hath been. Follow me as I sing, and touch the warbled string under the shady roof of branching elm star-proof. Follow me, I will bring you where she sits, clad in splendour as befits her deity, such a rural queen Arcadia hath not seen.
Nymphs and shepherds dance no more by sandy Ladon's lilied banks. On old Lycidas or Selene hoar, trip no more in twilight ranks through Erymanth your loss deplore, a better soil shall give ye thanks. From the stony Minorlus bring your flocks and live with us, here ye shall have greater grace to serve the lady of this place. Though Syrinx your Pan's mistress were, yet Syrinx well might wait on her. Such a rural queen all Arcadia hath not seen.
Comus, a masque presented at Ludlow Castle. We spirits all declaim, before the starry threshold of Jove's court, my mansion is, where those immortal shapes of bright aerial spirits live insphered in regions mild, of calm and serene air, above the smoke and stir of this dim spot, which men call earth, and with low-thoughted care confined and pestered in this pinfold here, strive to keep up a frail and feverish being, unmindful of the crown that virtue gives after this mortal change to her true servants amongst the enthroned gods on sainted seats. Yet some there be that by due steps aspire to lay their just hands on that golden key that opes the palace of eternity. To such my errand is, and but for such I would not soil these pure ambrosial weeds with the rank vapours of this sin-worn mould.
But to my task, Neptune besides the sway of every salt flood, and each ebbing stream, took in by lot twixt tide, and neither Jove, imperial rule of all the sea-girt isles, that like to rich and various gems inlay the unadorned bosom of the deep, which he, to grace his tributary gods, by course commits to several government, and gives them leave to wear their sapphire crowns and wield their little tridents. But this isle, the greatest, and the best of all the main, he quarters to his blue-haired deities, and all this tract that fronts the falling sun.
A noble peer of mickle trust and power has in his charge, with tempered awe, to guide an old and haughty nation proud in arms, where his fair offspring nursed in princely law are coming to attend their father's state and new entrusted sceptre. But their way lies through the perplexing paths of this drear wood. The nodding horror of those shady brows threats the forlorn and wandering passenger, and here their tender age must suffer peril. But that by quick command from sovereign Jove, I was dispatched to forbear defence and guard. And listen why, for I will tell you now that what never yet was heard in tale or song, from old or modern bard in hall or bower, Bacchus, that first from out the purple grape, crushed the sweet poison of misruled used wine, after the Tuscan mariners transformed, coasting the Tyrrhene shore as the winds listed on Circe's island fell.
Who knows not Circe, the daughter of the sun, whose charmed cup whoever tasted lost his upright shape and downward fell into a grovelling swine. This nymph that gazed upon his clustering locks with ivy berries wreathed, and his blithe youth had by him, ere he parted thence, a son much like his father, but his mother more, whom therefore she brought up and Comus named.
Who ripe and frolic of his full-grown age, roving the Celtic and Iberian fields, at last betakes him to this ominous wood, and in thick shelter of black shades, embowered, excels his mother at her mighty art, offering to every weary traveller his orient liquor in a crystal glass, to quench the drouth of Phoebus, which as they taste, foremost do taste, through fond intemperate thirst.
Soon as the potion works their human countenance, the express resemblance of the gods is changed into some brutish form of wolf, or bear, or ounce, or tiger, hog, or bearded goat, all other parts remaining as they were, and they, so perfect is their misery, not once perceive their foul disfigurement, but boast themselves more comely than before, and all their friends, and native home forget to rule with pleasure in a sensual style.
Therefore, when any favoured of high Jove chances to pass through this adventurous glade, swift as the sparkle of a glancing star, I shoot from heaven to give him safe comfort, as now I do. But first, I must put off these my sky robes spun out of iris wood, and take the reeds and likeness of swain, that to the service of this house belongs, who with his soft pipe and smooth-ditted song well knows to still the wild winds when they roar, and hush the waving woods, nor of lesser faith in this office of his mountain watch, likeliest and nearest to the present aid of this occasion.
But I hear the tread of hateful steps. I must be viewless now.
I, Comus, the star that bids the shepherd fold, now top the heaven doth hold, and the gilded car of day. His glowing axle doth allay in the steep Atlantic stream, and the sloped sun his upward beam shoots across the dusty pole, pacing toward the other goal of his chamber in the east. Meanwhile, welcome, joy and feast, midnight shout and revelry, tipsy dance and jollity. Braid your locks with rosy twine, dropping odours, dropping wine. Rigour now is gone to bed, and advice with scrupulous head, strict age and sour severity with their grave sores in slumber lie. We that are of purer fire imitate the starry choir, who in their nightly watchful spheres lead in swift round the month and years, the sounds and seas with all their finny drove. Now to the moon in wavering Morris mood, and on the tawny sands and shelves trip the pert fairies and the dapper elves. By dimpled brook and fountain brim, the wood nymphs decked with daisies trim, their merry wakes and pastimes keep. What hath night to do with sleep? Night hath better sweets to prove. Venus now wakes and wakens love. Come, let us our rites begin. 'Tis only daylight that makes sin, which these dun shades will ne'er report. Hail, goddess of it nocturnal sport, dark valleyed Cotito, tomb the secret flame of midnight torches burns. Mysterious dame, that ere night called, but when the dragon womb of Stygian darkness spets her thickest gloom, and makes one blot of all the air, stay thy cloudy ebon chair, wherein thou rides with Hecate, and befriend us, thy vowed priests, till utmost end of all thy dues be done, and none left out, ere the blabbing eastern scout, the nice morn on the Indian sleep, from her cabin's loophole peep, and to the telltale sun descry our concealed solemnity. Come, knit hands, and beat the ground in a light, fantastic round. Music, music, music. La, 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 la. Break off, break off. I feel the different pace of some chaste footing near above this ground. Run to your shrouds. Within these brakes and trees our number may affright some virgin shore. For so I can distinguish by mine art. Benighted in these woods, now to my charms and to my wily trains, I shall ere long be well stocked with as fair a herd as grazed about my mother Circe. Thus I hurl my dazzling spells into the spongy air of power, to cheat the eye with blear illusion, and give it false presentiments, lest the place and my quaint habits breed astonishment, and put the damsel to suspicious flight, which must not be. For that's against my course. I, under fair pretence of friendly ends, and well-placked words of glozing courtesy, baited with reasons not implausible, wind me into the easy-hearted man, and hug him into snares. When once her eye hath met the virtue of this magic dust, I shall appear some harmless villager, whom thrift keeps up about his country gear. And here the lady comes. I fairly step aside, and hearken, if I may, her business here.
This way the noise was, if mine ear be true. My best guide now, methought it was the sound of riot and ill-managed merriment, such as the jocund flute or gamesome pipe stirs up among the loose, unlettered hinds, when for their teeming flocks and ranges full in wanton dance, they praise the bounteous Pan, and thank the gods amiss. I should be loath to meet the rudeness and swilled insolence of such late wassailers. Yet, oh, where else shall I inform my unacquainted feet, in the blind mazes of this tangled wood? My brothers, when they saw me wearied out with this long way, resolving here to lodge under the spreading favour of these pines, stepped, as they said, to the next thicket side to bring me berries, or such cooling fruit as the kind hospitable woods provide. They left me then, when the grey hooded even, like a sad votarist in Palmer's weed, rose from the hindmost wheels of Phoebus' wain. But where are they? And why they came not back is now the labour of my thoughts. 'Tis likeliest they had engaged their wandering steps too far, and envious darkness, ere they could return, had stole them from me. Else, O thievish night, why shouldst thou, but for some felonious end, in thy dark lantern thus close up the stars, that nature hung in heaven, and fill their lamps with everlasting oil, to give due light to the misled and lonely traveller? This is the place, as well as I may guess, whence even now the tumult of loud mirth was rife, and perfect in my listening ear. Yet naught but single darkness do I find. What might this be? 1,000 fantasies begin to throng into my memory of calling shapes and beckoning shadows dire and airy tongues that syllable men's names on sands and shores and desert wildernesses. These thoughts may startle well, but not astound the virtuous mind that ever walks attended by a strong siding champion, conscience. O welcome pure-eyed faith, white-handed hope, thou hovering angel girt with golden wings, and thou unblemished form of chastity, I see ye visibly, and now believe that he, the supreme good, to whom all things ill are but as slavish officers of vengeance, would send a glistening guardian, as need were, to keep my life and honour unassailed. Was I deceived, or did a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night? I did not err. There does a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night, and casts a gleam over this tufted grove. I cannot hello to my brothers, but such noise as I can make to be heard farthest, I'll venture, for my new enlivened spirits prompt me, and they perhaps are not far off.
Sweet echo, sweetest nymph that livest unseen within thy airy shell, by slow meanders margent green, and in the violet embroidered veil, where the love-lorn nightingale nightly to thee her sad song mourneth well.
Canst thou not tell me of a gentle pair that likest thy Narcissus are? Or, oh, if thou have hid them in some flowery cave, tell me but where, sweet queen of parley, daughter of the sphere, so mayst thou be translated to the skies, and give resounding grace to all heaven's harmonies.
Can any mortal mixture of earth's mould breathe such divine enchanting ravishment? Sure, something holy lodges in that breast, and with these raptures moves the vocal air to testify his hidden residence. How sweetly did they float upon the wings of silence, through the emptied, vaulted night of every fall, smoothing the raven down of darkness till it smiled. I've oft heard my mother Circe with the sirens three, amidst the flowery kirtled Naiades, culling their potent herbs and baleful drugs, who, as they sung, would take the prisoned soul and lap it in Elysium. Scylla wept and chid her barking waves into attention, and fell Charybdis murmured soft applause. Yet they in pleasing slumber lulled the sense, and in sweet madness robbed it of itself. But such a sacred and home-felt delight, such sober certainty of waking bliss, I never heard it till now. I'll speak to her, and she shall be my queen. Hail, foreign wonder, whom certain these rough shades did never breed, unless the goddess that in rural shine dwellst here with Pan or Sylvan, by blessed song forbidding every bleak unkindly fog to touch the prosperous growth of this tall wood.
Nay, gentle shepherd, ill is lost that praise that is addressed to unattending ears. Not any boast of skill, but extreme shift, how to regain my severed company, compelled me to awake the courteous echo, to give me answer from her mossy couch.
Well, what chance, good lady, hath bereft you thus?
Dim darkness and this heavy labyrinth.
Well, could that divide you from their ushering guide?
They left me weary on a grassy turf.
By falsehood, or discourtesy, or why?
To seek in the valley some cool, friendly spring.
And left your fair side all unguarded, lady?
They were but twain in purpose quick return.
Perhaps forestalling night prevented them.
How easy my misfortune is to hit.
Imports their loss, beside the present need.
No less than if I should my brothers loose.
Were they of manly prime or youthful bloom?
As smooth as Hebrews their unrazored lips.
Ha! Two such as I saw, what time the laboured ox in his loose traces from the furrow came, and the swink-turd hedger at his supper state, I saw them under a green mantling vine that crawls along the side of yon small hill, plucking ripe clusters from the tender shoots. Their port was more than human. As they stood, I took it for a fairy vision of some gay creatures of the element that in the colours of the rainbow live and play in the plighted clouds. I was awestruck, and as I passed, I worshipped it. If those you seek, it were a journey like path to heaven, to help you find it.
Gentle villager, what readiest way would bring me to that place?
Due west it rises from this shrubby point.
To find out that, good shepherd, I suppose, in such a scant allowance of starlight, would overtask the best land pilot's art, without the sure guess of well-practised feet.
I know each lane, and every alley, green, dingle, or bushy dell of this wild wood, and every bosky bourne from side to side. My daily walks an ancient neighbourhood they are, and if your stray attendants be yet lodged, or shroud within these limits, I shall know ere morrow wake, or the low-roosted lark from her thatched palace rose. If otherwise, I can conduct you, lady, to a low but loyal cottage, where you may be safe till further quest.
Shepherd, I take thy word and trust thy honest offered courtesy, which oft is sooner found in lowly sheds with smoky rafters, than in tapestry halls and courts of princes where it first was named, and yet is most pretended. In a place less warranted than this, or less secure I cannot be, that I should fear to change it. I me bless Providence and square my trial to my proportioned strength. Shepherd, lead on.
I, the older brother, say, unmuffle you faint stars, and thou fair moon that wantest to love travailer's benison, stoop thy pale visage through an amber cloud, and disinherit chaos that reigns here in double night of darkness and of shades. Or if your influence be quite dammed up with black usurping mists, some gentle taper, through a rush handle from the wicker hole of some clay habitation, visit us with thy long level rule of streaming light, and thou shalt be our star of Arcady, or Tyrian cynosure.
And I, the younger, say, if our eyes be barred that happiness, might we but hear the folded flocks penned in their wattled coats, or sound the pastoral reed with oaten stops, or whistle from the lodge, or village cock count the night watches to his feathery dames, 'twould be some solace yet, some little cheering in this close dungeon of innumerous boughs. But oh, that hapless virgin, our lost sister, where may she wander now? Whether betake her from the chill dew amongst rude burrs and thistles? Perhaps some cold bank is her bolster now, or gainst the rugged bark of some broad elm leans her unpillowed head, fraught with sad fears. What if wild amazement and affright, or while we speak within the direful grasp of savage hunger, or of savage heat?
Peace, brother, be not over exquisite to cast the fashion of uncertain evils. Grant they be so, while they rest unknown, what need a man forestall his date of grief, and run to meet what he would most avoid? If they be false alarms of fear, how bitter is such self-delusion! I do not think my sister so to seek, or so unprincipledly virtue's book, and the sweet peace that goodness bosoms over, as that the single want of light and noise, being in danger, as I trust she is not, could stir the constant mood of her calm thoughts, and put them into misbecoming plight. Virtue could see to do what virtue would by her own radiant light, whose sun and moon were in the flat sea sunk, and wisdom's self oft seeks to sweet retired solitude, where with her best nurse contemplation she plumes her feathers and lets grow her wings, that in the various bustle of resort were all too ruffled, and sometimes impaired. He that has light within his own clear breast may sit in the centre and enjoy bright day, but he that hides dark soul and foul thoughts, benighted walks under the midday sun, himself is his own dungeon.
'Tis most true that musing meditation most affects the pensive secrecy of a desert cell, far from the cheerful haunt of men and herds, and sits as safe as in a senate house. For who would rob a hermit of his weeds, his few books, or his beads, or maple dish, or do his grey hairs any violence? But beauty, like the fair Hesperian tree, laden with blooming gold, had need the guard of dragon watch with unenchanted eye, to save her blossoms and defend her fruit from the rash hand of bold incontinence. You may as well spread out the unsunned heaps of miser's treasure by an outlaw's den and tell me it is safe, as bid me hope. Danger will wink on opportunity and let a single helpless maiden pass uninjured in this wild surrounding waste. Of night or loneliness it recks me not. I fear the dread events that dog them both, lest some ill-greeting touch attempt the person of our unknown sister.
I do not, brother, infer, as if I thought my sister's state secure without all doubt or controversy. Yet where an equal poise of hope and fear does arbitrate the event, my nature is that I incline to hope rather than fear, and gladly banish swift suspicion. My sister is not so defenceless left as you imagine. She has not a hidden strength, which you remember not.
What hidden strength? Unless the strength of heaven, if you mean that.
I mean that too, but yet a hidden strength, which if heaven gave it, may be terming her own. It is chastity, my brother, chastity. She that has that is clad in complete steel, and like a quivered nymph and arrow king may trace huge forests and unharbored heaths, infamous hills, and sandy perilous wides, where through the sacred rays of chastity no savage, fierce bandit or mountaineer will dare soil her virgin purity. Yea, there, where very desolation dwells by grots and caverns shagged with horrid shades, she may pass on with unblenched majesty. Be it not done in pride or in presumption. Some say no evil thing, but walks by night in fog or fire, by lake or moorish fen, any meagre hag or stubborn inlaid ghost that breaks his maverick chains at turpentine. No goblin or swart fairy of mine had hurtful power over true virginity. Do you believe me yet, or shall I call antiquity from the old schools of Greece to testify the arms of chastity? Hence had the huntress Dian her dread bow, her silver-shafted queen, forever chaste, wherewith she tamed the brinded lioness and spotted mountain pard. But she set naught the frivolous bolt of Cupid, gods and men, feared her stern frown, and she was queen of the woods. What was that snaky-headed Gorgon shield that wise Minerva wore, unconquered virgin, wherewith she freezed her foes to congealed stone? But rigid looks of chaste austerity, and noble grace that daren't brute violence with sudden adoration and blank awe. So dear to heaven is saintly chastity, that when a soul is found sincerely so, 1,000 liveried angels lap it, driving far off each thing of sin and guilt, and in clear dream and solemn vision tell her of things that no gross ear can hear, till oft converse with heavenly habitants, begin to cast a beam on the outward shape, the unpolluted temple of the mind, and turns it by degrees to the soul's essence, till all be made immortal. But when lust, by unchaste looks, loose gestures, foul talk, but most by lewd and lavish acts of sin, lets in defilement to the inward parts, the soul grows clotted by contagion, embodies and enroots, till she, quite loose, the divine property of her first being. Such are those thick and gloomy shadows down off-seen in charnel vaults and sepulchres, lingering and sitting by a new-made grave, as loath to leave the body that loved, and liked itself by carnal sensuality to a degenerate and degraded state.
How charming is divine philosophy! Not harsh and crabbed as dull fools suppose, but musical, as is Apollo's lute, and a perpetual feast of nectared sweets where no crude surfeit reigns.
List, I hear some far-off hallow break the silent air.
We thought so too. What should it be?
Oh, for certain, either one like us, a knight founded here, or else some neighbour woodman, or at worst, some roving robber, calling to his fellows.
Heavens keep my sister, again and near, best draw, and stand upon our guard.
I'll hallow. I'll he be friendly. He comes well. If not, defence is a good cause, and heaven will be for us. Oh, that Harry I should know. What are you? Speak.
come not too near. You fall on iron stakes else.
What voice is that, my young lord? Speak again.
Oh, brother, 'tis my father's shepherd, sure.
Verses, whose artful strains have often laid the accompanying brook to hear his magical, and sweetened every musgrove of the dale. How canst thou hear, good swain? Have any ram slipped from the fold, or young kid lost his dam, or straggled whether the pent lock forsook? How couldst thou find this dark sequestered nook?
Oh, my loved master's heir and his next joy, I came not here on such a trivial toy as a stray to you, or to pursue the stealth of pilfering wolf. Not all the fleecy wealth that doth enrich these downs is worth a thought to this my errand, and the care it brought. But oh, my virgin lady, where is she? How chance she is not in your company?
To tell thee sadly, shepherd, without blame, or our neglect, we lost her as we came.
Ay me, unhappy, then my fears are true.
What fears, good Thyrsis? Prithee, briefly shew.
I'll tell thee, 'tis not vain or fabulous, though so esteemed by shallow ignorance, what the sage poets taught by the heavenly muse, stories of old high and high immortal verse, of die chimeras and unchanted isles and rifted rocks, whose entrance leads to hell. For such there be, but unbelief is blind within the navel of this hideous wood. Immured in cypress shades, a sorcerer dwells, of Bacchus and of Circe born, great Comus, deep skilled in all his mother's witcheries, and heir to every thirsty wanderer by sly enticement, gives his baneful cup with many murmurs mixed, whose pleasing poison the visage quite transforms of him that drinks, and the inglorious likeness of a beast fixes instead, unmoulding reason's mintage, charactered in the face. This have I learnt, tending my flocks, hardly by the hilly crofts that brow this bottom glade, whence night by night he and his monstrous rout are heard to howl like stabled wolves, or tigers at their prey, being abhorred rights to equity in their obscured haunts of inmost bowers.
Yet have they many baits and guileful spells to inveigle and invite the unwary sense of them that pass unweeting by the way. This evening late by then the chewing flocks had taken their supper on the savoury herb of knot grass dew besprent, and were in fold. I sate me down to watch upon a bank with ivy canopied and interwove with flaunting honeysuckle, and began wrapped in a pleasing fit of melancholy to meditate my rural minstrelsy, till fancy had her fill, and ere a close that the wonted roar was up amidst the woods, and filled the air with barbarous dissonance, at which I ceased, and listened them a while, till an unusual stop of sudden silence gave respite to the drowsy, frighted steeds that drew the litter of close-curtained sleep.
At last, the soft and solemn breathing sound rose like a steam of rich distilled perfumes, and stole upon the air, that even silence was took ere she was aware, and wished she might deny her nature, and be never more still to be so displaced. I was all ears, and took in strains that might create a soul under the ribs of death. But oh, ere long, too well I did perceive it was the voice of my most honoured lady, your dear sister. Amazed I stood, harrowed with grief and fear, and oh, poor hapless nightingale, thought I, how sweet thou singest, how near the deadly snare.
Then down the lawns I ran with headlong haste through paths and turnings often trod by day, till guided by mine ear I found the place where that damned wizard hid in sly disguise, for so by certain signs I knew, had met already, ere my best speed could prevent the aidless innocent lady, his wished prey, who gently asked if he had seen such two, supposing him some neighbour villager. Longer I durst not stay, but soon I guessed ye were the two she meant. With that I sprung into swift flight, till I had found you here, but further know I not.
Oh, night and shades! how he joined with hell in triple knot against the unarmed weakness of one virgin alone and helpless. Is this the confidence you gave me, brother?
Yes, and keep it still. Lean on it safely. Not a period shall be unsaid for me against the threats of malice, or of sorcery, or that power which erring men call chance. This I hold firm. Virtue may be assailed, but never hurt. Surprised by unjust force, but not enthralled. Yea, even that which mischief meant most harm shall in the happy trial prove most glory. But evil on itself shall back recoil, and mix no more with goodness, when at last, gathered like scum, and settled to itself, it shall be in eternal restless change, self-fed and self-consumed. If this fail, the pillared firmament is rottenness, and earth's base built on stubble. But come, let's on. Against the opposing will, an arm of heaven, may never this just sword be lifted up. But for that damned magician, let him be girt with all the grisly legions that troop under the sooty flag of Acheron. Papyries and hydras, or all the monstrous forms twixt Africa and Ind. I'll find them out and force him to restore his purchase back, or drag him by the curls to a foul death, cursed as his life.
Oh, well, that's good, venturous youth. I love thy courage, yet and bold emprise, but here thy sword can do thee little stead. For other arms and other weapons must be those that quell the might of hellish charms. He with his bare wand can unthread thy joints and crumble all thy sinews.
Why, prithee, shepherd, how durst thou then thyself approach so near as to make this relation?
Care and utmost shifts how to secure the lady from surprisal brought to my mind a certain shepherd lad, of small regard to see to, yet well skilled in every virtuous plant and healing herb that spreads her verdant leaf to the morning ray. He loved me well, and oft would beg me sing, which when I did, he on the tender grass would sit and hearken even to ecstasy, and in requital ope his leathered script, and show me simples of 1,000 names, telling their strange and vigorous faculties. Amongst the rest a small, unsightly root, but of divine effect, he culled me out. The leaf was darkish and had freckles on it, but in another country, as he said, bore a bright golden flower, but not in this soil.
Are unknown, and like esteemed, and the dull swain treads on it daily with his clouted shoon. And yet more medicinal is it in that moly that Hermes once to wise Ulysses gave. He called it Hemony, and he gave it me, and bade me keep it as of sovereign use against all enchantments, mildew blast, or damp, or ghastly fury's apparition. I pursued it up, but little reckoning made, till now that is this extremity compelled. But now I found it true, for by this means I knew the foul enchanter, though disguised, entered the very lime twigs of his spells, and yet came off. If you have this about you, as I will give you when you go, you may boldly assault the necromancer's hall, where if he be with dauntless hardihood and brandished blade, rush on him, break his glass, and shed the luscious liquor on the ground. But cease his wand, though he and his cursed crew fierce sign of battle make, and menace high, or like the sons of Vulcan vomit smoke, yet will they soon retire if he but shrink.
Therses, lead on apace. I'll follow thee, and some good angel bear a shield before us.
A stately palace set out with all manner of deliciousness, soft music, tables spread with all dainties. I, Comus, greet the lady, set in an enchanted chair. I offer my glass, which she puts by and is about to rise. Nay, lady, sit. But if I wave this wand, your nerves are all chained up in alabaster, and you a statue, or as Daphne was, root bound, that fled Apollo.
Fool, do not boast. Thou canst not touch the freedom of my mind with all thy charms, although this corporal rind thou hast manacled, while heaven sees good.
Why are you vexed, lady? Why do you frown? Here dwell no frowns, nor anger. From these gates sorrow flies far. See, here be all the pleasures that fancy can beget on youthful thoughts, when the fresh blood grows lively, and returns brisk as the April buds in primrose season. And first behold this cordial julep here, that flames and dances in his crystal bounds, with spirits of balm and fragrant syrups mixed. Not that Nepenthes, which the wife of Thone in Egypt gave to Jove, born Helena, is of such power to stir up joy as this, to life so friendly, or so cool to thirst. Why should you be so cruel to yourself and to those dainty limbs which nature lent for gentle usage and soft delicacy? But you invert the covenants of her trust and harshly deal like an ill borrower with that which you received on other terms, scorning the unexempt condition by which all mortal frailty must subsist. Refreshment after toil, ease after pain, that have been tired all day without repast, and timely rest have wanted. But, fair virgin, this will restore all soon.
'Twill not, false traitor. 'Twill not restore the truth and honesty that thou hast banished from thy tongue with lies. Was this the cottage and the safe abode thou toldest me of? What grim aspects are these awfully headed monsters? Mercy, guard me. Hence with thy brood enchantments, foul deceiver, hast thou betrayed my credulous innocence, with visored falsehood and base forgery. And wouldst thou seek again to trap me here, with liquorish baits to ensnare a brute? Were it to draw for Juno when she banquets, I would not taste thy treasonous offer. None but such as are good men can give good things, and that which is not good is not delicious to a well-governed and wise appetite.
Oh, foolishness of men that lend their ears to those budge doctors of the stoic fur and fetch their precepts from the cynic tub, praising the lean and sallow abstinence. Wherefore did nature power her bounties forth with such a full and unwithdrawing hand, covering the earth with odours, with fruits and flocks, thronging the seas with spawn innumerable, but all to please and sate the curious taste, and set to work millions of spinning worms that in their green shops weaved the smooth-haired silk to deck her sons, and that no corner might be vacant of her plenty. In her loins she hatched all worshipped ore and precious gems to store her children with. If all the world should in a pet of temperance feed on pulse, drink the clear stream, and nothing wear but freeze, all gither would be unthanked, would be unpraised, not half his riches known, and yet despised. And we should serve him as a grudging master, as a penurious niggard of his wealth, and live like nature's bastards, not her sons, who would be quite surcharged with her own weight and strangled with her waste fertility. The earth cumbered, and the winged air darked with plumes. The herds would over multitude their lords, the sea over refraught would swell, and the unsought diamonds would so emblaze the forehead of the deep, and so bestud with stars, that they below would grow inured to light, and come at last to gaze upon the sun with shameless brows. List, lady, be not coy, be not cozened with that same bought-in name, virginity. Beauty is nature's coin, must not be hoarded, but must be current, and the good thereof consists in mutual and partaken bliss, unsavoury in the enjoyment of itself, If you let slip time like a neglected rose, it withers on the stalk with languished head. Beauty is nature's brag, and must be shown in courts, at feasts and high solemnities, where most may wonder at the workmanship. It is for homely features to keep home. They had their name hence. Coarse complexions and cheeks of sorry grain will serve to ply the sample, and to tease the housewife's wool. What need a vermeil tinctured lip for that love-darting eyes, or tresses like the morn? There was another meaning in these gifts. Think what, and be advised. You are but yet young.
I had not thought to have unlocked my lips in this unhallowed air, but that this juggler would think to charm my judgment, as mine eyes, obtruding false rules, pranked in reason's garb. I hate when vice can bolt her arguments, and virtue hath no tongue to check her pride. Impostor do not charge most innocent nature, as if she would her children should be riotous with her abundance. She, good cateress, means her provision only to the good, that live according to her sober laws, and holy dictate of spare temperance. If every just man that now pines with want had but a moderate and beseeming share of that which lewdly pampered luxury now heaps upon some few with vast excess, nature's full blessings would be well dispent in unsuperfluous even proportion, and she no whit encumbered with her store, and then the giver would be better thanked. His praise due paid for swinish gluttony, ne'er looks to heaven amidst his gorgeous feast, but with besotted base ingratitude crams and blasphemes his feeder. Shall I go on, or have I said enough? To him that dares arm his profane tongue with contemptuous words against the sun-clad power of chastity, fain would I something say, yet to what end? Thou hast not nor ear nor soul to apprehend the sublime notion and high mystery that must be uttered to unfold the sage and serious doctrine of virginity. And thou art worthy that thou shouldst not know more happiness than this thy present lot. Enjoy your dear wit and gay rhetoric that hath so well been taught her day's dazzling fence. Thou art not fit to hear thyself convict. Yet should I try, the uncontrolled work of this pure cause would kindle my raptured spirits to such a flame of sacred vehemence, that dumb things would be moved to sympathize, and the brute earth would lend her nerves and shake till all thy magic structures reared so high were shattered into heaps o'er thy false head.
Cha, she fables not. I feel that I do fear her words, set off by some superior power. And though not mortal, yet a cold shuddering dew dips me all o'er, as when the wrath of Jove speaks thunder, and the chains of Erebus to some of Satan's crew. I must dissemble, and try her yet more strongly. Come no more, this is mere moral babble, and direct against the canon laws of our foundation. I must not thus suffer this, yet 'tis but the less and settlings of a melancholy blood. But this will cure all straight. One sip of this will bathe the drooping spirits in delight beyond the bliss of dreams. Be wise and taste.
What? Have you let the false enchanter escape? Oh, ye mistook. Ye should have snatched his wand and bound him fast without his rod reversed and backward mutters of discovering power. We cannot free the lady that sits here in stony fetters fixed and motionless. Yet stay, be not disturbed. Now I bethink thee, some other means I have which may be used, which once of Melibæus old I learnt, the soothest shepherd that e'er piped on plains. There is a gentle nymph not far from hence, that with moist curb sways the smooth Severn stream. Sabrina is her name, a virgin pure, with whom she was the daughter of Locrine, that had the sceptre from his father Brute. The guiltless damsel flying the mad pursuit of her enraged stepdam, Gwendolen, commended her innocence to the flood that stayed her flight with his crisscrossing course. The water nymphs that in the bottom played held up their purled wrists and took her in, bearing her straight to aged Nereus' hall.
Who, piteous of her woes, reared her lank head and gave her to his daughters to imbathe in nectared lava strewed with asphodel. And through the porch and inlet of each sense dropped in ambrosial oils till she revived and underwent a quick immortal change, made goddess of the river. Still she retains her maiden gentleness, and oft at eve visits the herds along the twilight meadows, helping all urchin blasts and ill luck signs that the shrewd meddling elves delights to make, which she with precious violed liquors heals, for which the shepherds at their festivals carol her goodness loud in rustic lays, and throw sweet garland wreaths into her stream, pansies, pinks, and gaudy daffodils. And as the old swain said, she can unlock the clasping charm and thaw the numbing spell if she be right invoked in warbling song. For maidenhood she loves, and will be swift to aid a virgin, such as was herself, in hard besetting need. This will I try, and add the power of some adjuring verse.
Sabrina, fair, listen where thou art sitting under the glass, cool, translucent wave, in twisted braids of lilies, knitting the loose train of thy amber dropping hair. Listen, for dear honour's sake, goddess of the silver lake, listen and say, listen and appear to us in name of great Oceanus, by the earth-shaking Neptune's mace, and Tethys' grave, majestic pace, by hoary Nereus' wrinkled look, and the Carpathian wizard's hook, by scaly Triton's winding shell, and old soothsaying Glaucus' spell.
By Leucothea's lovely hands, and her son that rules the strands, by Thetis' tinsel-slippered feet, and the songs of sirens sweet, by dead Parthenope's dear tomb, and fair Ligeia's golden comb, wherewith she sits on diamond rocks, sleeking her soft, alluring locks.
By all the nymphs that nightly dance upon thy streams with wily glance, rise, rise, and heave thy rosy head from thy coral-paven bed, and bridle in thy headlong way, till thou the summons answered have. Listen and say.
By the rushy fringed bank, where grows the willow and the osier dank, my sliding chariot stays, thick set with agate and the azure sheen of Turkish blue and emerald green, that in the channels strays, whilst from off the waters fleet. Thus I set my printless feet o'er the cowslip's velvet head, that bends not as I tread. Gentle swain, at thy request, I am here.
Goddess dear, we implore thy powerful hand to undo the charmed band of true virgin here distressed, through the force and through the wile of unblessed enchanter vile.
Shepherd, 'tis my office best to help ensnared chastity. Brightest lady, look on me, thus I sprinkle on thy breast drops that from my fountain pure I have kept a precious cure. Thrice upon thy finger's tip, thrice upon thy rubied lip, next this marble vellum seat, smeared with gums of glutinous heat, I touch with chaste palms, moist and cold. Now the spell hath lost his hold, and I must haste ere morning hour to wait in Amphitrite's bower.
Virgin, daughter of Locrine, sprung of old Anchises' line, may thy brimmed waves for this their full tribute never miss, from 1,000 petty rills that tumble down the snowy hills. Summer drouth or singed air never scorch thy tresses fair, nor wet October's torrent flood thy molten crystal fill with mud. May thy billows roll ashore the beryl and the golden ore. May thy lofty head be crowned with many a tower and terrace round, and here and there thy banks upon with groves of myrrh and cinnamon.
Lady, while heaven lends us grace, let us fly this cursed place, lest the sorcerer us entice with some other new device. Not a waste or needless sound, till we come to holier ground. I shall be your faithful guide through this gloomy covert wide, and not many furlongs thence is your father's residence, where this night are met in state many a friend to gratulate his wished presence, and beside all the swains that there abide with jigs and rural dance resort. And we shall catch them at their sport, and our sudden coming there will double all their mirth and cheer. Come, let us haste. The stars grow high, but night sits monarch yet in the mid-sky.
Back, shepherds, back, enough you'll play, till next sunshine holiday. Here be without duck or nod, other trippings to be trod, of lighter toes and such court guise, as Mercury did first devise, with the mincing dryads on the lords and on the leads.
Noble lord and lady bright, I have brought ye new delight. Here behold so goodly grown 3 fair branches of your own. Heaven hath timely tried their youth, their faith, their patience, and their truth, and sent them here through hard assays, with a crown of deathless praise, to triumph in victorious dance, o'er sensual folly and intemperance.
To the ocean now I fly, and those happy climes that lie where day never shuts his eye, up in the broad fields of the sky. There I suck the liquid air all amidst the gardens fair of Hesperus, and his daughters 3 that sing about the golden tree. Along the crisped shades and boughs revels the spruce, and jocund spring, the graces, and the rosy blossomed towers. Hither all their bounties bring, and that there eternal summer dwells. And west winds with musky wing about the cedared alleys fling nard and cassia's balmy smells. Iris there, with humid bow, waters the odorous banks that blow flowers of more mingled hue than her purified scarf can show, and drenches with Elysian dew. List, mortals, if your ears be true.
Beds of hyacinth and roses, where young Adonis oft reposes, waxing well of his deep wound, in slumber soft and on the ground, sadly sits the Assyrian queen, but far above in spangled sheen, celestial Cupid, her famed son advanced, holds his dear Psyche, sweet entranced.
After her wandering labours long, till 3 consent the gods among, make her his eternal bride, and from her fair unspotted side 2 blissful twins are to be born, youth and joy. So Jove hath sworn.
But now my task is smoothly done. I can fly, or I can run quickly to the green earth's end, where the bowed welkin slow doth bend, and from thence can soar as soon to the corners of the moon.
Mortals that would follow me, love, virtue, she alone is free. She can teach you how to climb higher than the sphery chime. Or if virtue feeble were, heaven itself would stoop to her. Hey, do have a little bit. Hey, hey. The end. The end. Okay.
Milton's Lycidas. Yet once more, O ye laurels, and once more, ye myrtles brown, with ivy never sere, I come to pluck your berries, harsh and crude, and with forced fingers rude, shatter your leaves before the mellowing year. Bitter constraint and sad occasion dear, compels me to disturb your season due. For Lycidas is dead, dead ere his prime, young Lycidas, and hath not left his peer. Who would not sing for Lycidas? He knew himself to sing and build the lofty rhyme. He must not float upon his watery bier unwept, and welter to the parching wind without the meed of some melodious tear. Begin then, sisters of the sacred well, that from beneath the seat of Jove doth spring. Begin, and somewhat loudly sweep the string. Hence with denial vain and coy excuse. So may some gentle muse with lucky words favour my destined urn, and as he passes turn and bid fair peace be to my sable shroud. For we were nursed upon the selfsame hill, fed the same flock, by fountain, shade, and rill, together both, ere the high lawns appeared under the opening eyelids of the morn. We drove afield, and both together heard what time the grey-fly winds her sultry horn, battening our flocks with the fresh dews of night. Oft till the star that rose at evening bright toward heaven's descent had sloped his westering wheel. Meanwhile, the rural ditties were not mute, tempered to the oaten flute. Rough satyrs danced, and fauns with cloven heel from the glad sound would not be absent long, and old Damitas loved to hear our song. But oh, the heavy change, now thou art gone. Now thou art gone, and never must return. Thee, shepherd, thee the woods and desert caves, with wild thyme and the gadding vine o'ergrown, and all their echoes mourn. The willows and the hazel copses green shall now no more be seen, fanning their joyous leaves to thy soft lays. As killing as the canker to the rose, or taintworm to the weanling herds that graze, or frost to flowers that their gay wardrobe wear when first the white thorn blows, such, Lycidas, thy loss to shepherd's ear.
Where were ye, nymphs, when the remorseless deep closed over the head of your loved Lycidas? For neither were ye playing on the steep, where your old bards, the famous Druids, lie, nor on the shaggy top of Mona high, nor yet where Deva spreads her wizard's dream. Ay me, I fondly dream, had ye been there, for what could that have done? What could the muse herself that Orpheus bore, the muse herself for her enchanting son, whom universal nature did lament, when by the rout that made the hideous roar, his gory visage down the stream was sent, down the swift Hebrus to the Lesbian shore. Alas, what boots it with uncessant care to tend the homely slighted shepherd's trade, and strictly meditate the thanksless muse? Were it not better done as others use, to sport with Amaryllis in the shade, or with the tangles of Neaera's hair? Fame is the spur that the clear spirit doth raise, that last infirmity of the noble mind, to scorn delights and live laborious days, but the fair guerdon when we hope to find, and think to burst out into a sudden blaze. Comes the blind fury with the abhorred shears, and slits the thin-spun life. But not the praise, Phoebus replies, and touch my trembling ears. Fame is no plant that grows on mortal soil, nor in the glistering foil, set off to thy world, nor in broad rumour lies, but lives and spreads aloft by those pure eyes, and perfect witness of all judging Jove, as he pronounces lastly on each deed, of so much fame in heaven expect thy meed. O fountain of Arethusa, and thou honoured flood, smooth sliding Mincius crowned with vocal reeds, that strain I heard was of a higher mood, but now my ope proceeds and listens to the herald of the sea that came in Neptune's plea. He asked the waves and asked the felon winds, what hard mishap hath doomed this gentle swain, and questioned every gust of rugged wings that blows off each beaked promontory. They knew not of his story, and sage Hippotades their answer brings, that not a blast was from his dungeon strayed. The air was calm, and on the level brine sleek Panoply with all her sisters played. It was that fatal and perfidious bark, built in the eclipse and rigged with curses dark, that sunk so low that sacred head of thine.
Next Comus, reverend sire, when footings low, his mantle hairy and his bonnet sad, and wrought with figures dim and on the edge, like to that sanguine flower inscribed would grow. Ah, who hath reft hope ye, my dearest pledge? Last came and last did go, the pilot of the Galilean lake. Two massy keys he bore of metals twain, the golden ox, the iron shuts amain. He shook his mitred locks, and stern the spake, how well could I have spared for thee, young swain, and know of such as for their belly's sake creep and intrude and climb into the fold. Of other care they little reckoning make, than how to scramble at the shearer's feast, and shove away the worthy bidden quest. Lying mouths that scarce themselves know how to hold a sheep hook, or have learned aught else the least, that to the faithful herdsman's art belongs. What recks it them, what need they are spared. And when they list, their lean and fleshy sons grate on their scrannel pipes of wretched straw. The hungry sheep look up and are not fed, but sworn with wind and the rank mist they draw, rot inwardly and foul contagion spread. Besides what the grim wolf with privy paw daily devours apace, and nothing said. But that two-handed engine at the door stands ready to smite once and smite no more. Return, Albius, the dread voice is past that shrunk thy streams. Return, Sicilian muse, and call the vales, and bid them hither cast their bells, and florists of 1,000 hues. Ye valleys low, where the mild whispers use of shades, and wanton rings and gushing brooks, on whose fresh lap the sword star sparely roots. Draw hither all your quaint enamelled eyes, that on the green turf suck the honeyed showers, and purple all the ground with vernal flowers. Bring the ripe primrose that forsaken dies, the tufted croto and pale jessamine, the white pink and the pansy flecked with jet, the growing violet, the musk rose, and the well-attired woodbine, with cowslips wan that hung the pensive head, and every flower that sad embroidery wears. Bid amaranthus all his beauty shed, and daffodillies fill their cups with tears, to strew the laureate hers where Lycidas lies. For so to interpose a little ease, let our frail thoughts dally with false surmise.
Ay me, whilst thee the shores and sounding seas wash far away, where'er thy bones are hurled, whether beyond the stormy Hebrides, where thou perhaps under the whelming tide visitest the bottom of the monstrous world, or whether thou, to our moist vows denied, sleeps by the fable of Bellera's hold, where the great vision of the guarded mount looks towards Namancos and Baiana's hold. Look homeward, angel, now, and melt with ruth, and, O ye dolphins, waft the hapless youth. Weep no more, woeful shepherds, weep no more, for Lycidas, your sorrow, is not dead, sunk though he be beneath the watery floor. So sinks the day star in the ocean bed, and yet anon repairs his drooping head, and tricks his beams, and with new-spangled ore flames in the forehead of the morning sky. So Lycidas, sunk low, but mounted high through the dear might of him that walked the waves, where other groves and other streams along with nectar pure his oozy locks he laves, and hears the unexpressive nuptial song in the blessed kingdoms meek of joy and love. There entertain him all the saints above in solemn troops and sweet societies that sing and singing in their glory move and wipe the tears forever from his eyes. Now, Lycidas, the shepherds weep no more. Henceforth thou art the genius of the shore in thy large recompense, and shalt be good to all that wander in that perilous flood. Thus sang the uncouth swain to the oaks and rills, while the still morn went out with sandals grey. He touched the tender stops of various quills, with eager thought warbling his Doric lay. And now the sun had stretched out all the hills, and now was dropped into the western bay. At last he rose and twitched his mantle blue. Tomorrow to fresh woods and pastures new.